And just
Time,
as I start,
never fails. What's going on, everybody? We are back for a WandaVision discussion. This is episode 5, and this is on a very special episode. Like, that's literally the name of the episode. So, you haven't seen the episode.
It's not a very special episode. I'm just gonna say that, but the name of it is a very special episode, and we're recording on a Saturday, which means that Sam has decided to hijack my peaceful Saturday to talk about WandaVision.
It's very true. Normally we do this on Monday. Shoot, last week we did this on Wednesday. So So yeah, I do thank you, Lucas, for being
sober here. Too. I have no alcohol right now. Like, it's too early for me to have alcohol right now, and I'm not that happy about it. But hey, we are here to talk about a show that I don't think is worth talking about. But shout out to Disney, because it's Disney, and you all still give us press access to shows, and we will continue to review because of the access that you give, hoping and praying that eventually one of these shows will be good.
So a lot of you guys are very excited for the revelations and the things that were unearthed in this episode. I've seen a lot of people say that this episode made WandaVision for you guys like the best show that Marvel's ever done. I've heard some people say that they never saw any of these things coming. And I mean, in terms of the revelations behind where things are gonna go from this show, I mean, those things are very much so strong possibilities, and it could be boding well for a lot of good product later on down the line. But in terms of the actual episode is concerned, the biggest three, now again, if you haven't seen the episode yet, I apologize. We normally do this on Monday to give you guys time to watch it. So if you haven't seen the episode, go watch it and then come back to this, because you don't want to miss what we're about to do in just a second. That's all I can kind of say. But as far as the big key points in this episode from what we're going through and what we're going to dissect is, the biggest one, which is Pietro made his appearance.
Finally.
Yeah. In addition to Pietro, the children are presumably not just there, but they actually are created from something else organic, presumably based on what Wanda did and what Monica found out about her clothes. But either way, we've seen that these kids can't be controlled or manipulated from Wanda, as well as they may have manifest a dog. That was one thing I was going to ask you before we went into the other stuff, is that as far as with the kids and what they're going to be, we already know. We're going to talk about in a second. We're going to go over why we know. But as far as just what they are coming from and what they're doing, I was curious your thoughts on that, because that was the most interesting thing to me.
What, them creating the dog and then hiding the dog?
I think that they created the dog just like they, jumped themselves up. But the deeper thing is, I wonder if these kids might be manifestations of Wanda's psyche, like Vision as well. Like even like when she was talking to Vision, she was like, "You don't sound like yourself." And I was kind of like, is this her, idea of what Vision is? Like, it's just all still her, or is it like she's literally creating something out of nothing?
She's creating his new reactions that Vision doesn't react like.
Exactly.
Supposedly he's not supposed to have those type of emotions to react that way. So is it her reacting that way for him, which would make way more sense.
Exactly. But in terms of the kids, though, even when they were babies, they couldn't control those kids.
Yeah.
And part of the reason why she had that poor woman get manipulated and controlled was because, they were like, wait, what's going on? They're not listening to me. And she just they kept on fighting her on everything. Like small, she was like, "Oh, it's Saturday." They're like, "No, it's not Saturday. It's this, that, and other.
It's Monday." Yeah,
and they were like, "No." They kept on calling her and stuff. So they were like, "Yeah, mommy, you can bring stuff back from the dead. Bring them back from the dead. What are you doing?" And I thought that was, to me, the most interesting thing about this episode, because to me, I think that they're going to be the key to stopping her one way or another. Because initially I kind of thought that maybe Vision, but now
we know the actual state that Vision is in. So
exactly,
unless she does to him what she did to Monica's clothes, I mean, other than that, then he would have no way of actually stopping her.
Yep. So
that makes sense. It makes sense. I mean, out of all the things on this show that make sense, that would be the one that would make sense.
Yeah. And I think it would also work well for them going into their little young Avengers destiny that they're going to be going to.
Clearly. Boy, do they know how to shoehorn to set up a show. Like, granted, we knew that that's where all of this was going, but man, could you not be so obvious about it?
Yeah.
Like, a little more mystery would help.
Yeah. So this is what we're about to do. Okay, you guys. I didn't mean to drag this out longer, but I was kind of like, we at least got to talk about some of the things in the episode before we allow the rest of this to go and proceed. We're going to show you guys our video that we did. It was on Wednesday, right? Or Wednesday or Tuesday. I can't remember.
Tuesday night? Maybe Tuesday night. It was one of them. Right after we were in the middle of the Sundance Film Festival when we did it. That's what I remember.
We went for 33 minutes and we started to unearth some things, just talking collectively. And you're going to be very surprised with some of the things that you hear. Okay. So I'm going to start us off right now. Just so you can see the timestamp. February 3rd, we had not seen the episode or anything.
Yeah, because Disney does not give early access. Let me say that. Yeah, Disney does not give early access anymore.
Not the first 3 episodes.
Yeah, first 3 episodes. They give you access. They give you access, but not early access. It's odd, but it's Disney.
Yeah, I guess they're trying to hide some stuff, which is fine. They're
what's going on. I thought that the last episode kind of showcased that.
All right, so just listen to this.
The third episode showcases it when the neighbors want to talk and they can't.
Yep.
Like, she's controlling everything in there. Like, she's evil. She's a murderer. She can't help it though. Like, she's missing her love of her life.
Now listen to this very carefully.
She don't care about regular people because of Thanos. And
I do really feel like, though, and this is just my theory. All 5 of you guys watching this.
You're gonna bring back Pedro?
That's one. Okay. But just listen. It gets better.
Oh, yeah. No. So, I mean, that wasn't what I was going to say, but your girl, man, Twitter is dumb. The girl Elizabeth Olsen kind of screwed it out. It's like, oh, man, y'all love that moment that Luke came back and Mandalorian.
When they said it.
Wait until you see the cameo in this.
The point
why would you even say that?
Because what other character are you bringing back to life? Tony Stark?
Please, bro. Like,
I'm sorry. It wouldn't surprise anyone if Tony or Captain America came back. So who would you bring back? And I know damn well you're not comparing. You better bring Ultron back, because you better not compare bringing Pietro back to Luke Skywalker coming back. Are you fucking crazy?
So like, just to be clear, you guys, we're just talking on what, Elizabeth Olsen, she's the one who put the tweet out, right, Lucas?
Yeah, that's when I saw the tweet about the amazing reveal. And I'm hoping, again, we're still hoping that it's something else, because this wasn't supposed to be an amazing reveal to us. This was the obvious reveal.
Exactly. And it's kind of like, for me, I didn't expect anything until much later on. I thought she was talking about much later on, but yeah, let's keep listening. This gets entertaining.
Like, what sense would that make? Luke Skywalker? There are people named Luke and or Skywalker. There is no one named Pietro. There wasn't named Pietro before the fucking Age of Ultron movie came out. That had nothing to do with it.
Oh, so what if though?
Here, all right, listen very carefully. All right, just watch. Keep watching.
What if it's not Aaron Taylor Johnson's Pietro?
What if it was now? Whatever. They bring a good. let's say one. At that point, I want every Marvel fan to apologize when they told you from the beginning that his scenes in Days of Futures Past was better than anything done in Age of Ultron. But if they did do that, it's not Luke Skywalker. It's not. Hey, people out there gonna stop acting like Evan Peters coming over is as big, or dude, like later on, we don't need. Are we gonna show the clip of me comparing what I thought it would be as big as? There's no need to.
We definitely gotta go everything. I got timestamps. We got timestamps.
Almost, it's no need to say who I compared that, but it's not that big of a surprise. It's for storytelling purposes. It always made sense to bring him back.
Yes, exactly.
I have reservations of it being Aaron because Aaron seems to never have been interested in doing anything MCU related after he left.
Mm-hmm.
So Evan being the guy who's transformed to television more than anything else, and because Marvel likes aha moments, it would always seem, I think that's what made you say Evan Peters. It's like, okay, they like an aha moment. Aha, here you go. And then as we talk about, well, I don't know if you're going to show the clip, but we talk about later on about how that introduces more of the multiverse, which is the setup for everything else later on.
I'm definitely going to show that clip. Nah,
my bad.
We're going through everything because one of the biggest things that we had talked about, in addition to just that, I'll just speak on that real quick. Since, what was it, like episode
2?
Mm-hmm. They were even talking about both of these things. And I'm talking about the clothes and Pietro, because the moment they were like, oh, you have a brother? And she was like, yeah, I have a brother. I had a brother. And she kind of had a little moment or whatever. But it was like they were leaving these kind of foundations there that Pietro, no matter what, was coming back.
Yeah.
We
kind of was obvious. Yeah.
We knew that was coming back. But the thing would have made that mean something, the reason why people are so reactional right now is the implications of the Fox version of Pietro or Quicksilver being in this. Now, the clothes, okay? I'm going to let y'all listen to this real quick because Lucas brought up a really good point. But we had already had conversations about what the real clothes meant. The moment that Monica came out with those clothes, she went in without the clothes. It changed the whole perspective of everything. We're gonna let you.
The reason why I bring that up is because I think if anything good can come out of the show is that they can introduce the idea of other mutants,
other superpower individuals who, because of the snap, because boy, will they bring you back to a freaking snap? Because of the snap, it changed everything. And it is waking the powers in all of these other individuals. But then to actually say that, wouldn't we have to act like them other people didn't create these other people that would have been there since Charles and them would have been fighting since the 60s?
So I think that's where the Eternals come into all of this.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
And
I still feel that way about
the way that mutants.
But you love the director, though.
I do. Absolutely.
I don't know what Marvel's gonna do when it comes to Fantastic Four.
Uh-oh.
But I do know that this show.
Well, Reed Richards is definitely going to be in Spider-Man 3. I think we know that part.
Wait, was that a rumor or was that?
No. Just storytelling 101. He's going to be in Spider-Man 3.
Look, I ain't got time for you. I ain't got time for your conspiracy. And see, this is the thing, guys.
Storytelling 101. I'm not
stupid. Talking about the episode at this point because there's nothing more.
So, okay, one of the big reveals that Monica Rambeau, when she was talking, she had an aerospace person that she was supposed to be consulting with. She was literally on the phone. We never got to actually see the actual message, but it's pretty evident this Reed Richards at this point.
Well, it was evident to me before this show. Like, that's part of the reason of this show is to set up everything. I think we said that from the beginning.
Yeah.
And we felt that, and even though I say how much I did not or don't want to view WandaVision, it's because the show is out of order. Like, it's supposed to have been the Falcon and Winter Soldier first, the action show, the show to get you hooked in. WandaVision is supposed to be the show that reveals everything to you. So when you play that out of order, you kind of wonder how is it going to work with Falcon Winter Soldier later on. But this show is supposed to set up everything moving forward. And technically, the next project after this show that would have made in chronological order would have been Spider-Man 3.
Yep.
So it's all a setup. So if that's the case, clearly you're gonna have to hint to or set, because he can't just pop up in Spider-Man 3. No, you gotta set it up where he would have to be there.
Yeah, it's got to be a little bit of a foundation.
And as Sam said, the whole purpose of the show was to set up the multiverse.
Well, we ain't got there yet. We ain't got there yet. You gotta let it ride. Gotta let it ride. I'm savoring this moment. I'm sorry. Like, some of y'all came for me. My reaction was like, "You ain't
because you didn't act so surprised as they did."
Dude, it wasn't even that. Like, look. I'm gonna play this third. Let me see.
I want to talk about the episode. This is all theory and speculation.
Here's the thing. Here's the thing about WandaVision, and this is again beyond my issues with them splitting up these episodes into 30 minutes. There's literally nothing that happens in this episode that's overly important. This is a backstory episode. This is to help explain to you what me and Sam told you last week.
Here we go.
Which is that Wanda was controlling everything. And that's the main purpose of this episode, is to reveal to you all that Wanda is controlling everything. Now that you know Wanda's controlling everything and you get the glimpse that Vision is dead, like we kind of told you he was, the next thing is going to be on the next episode, which is part 1 of episode 3, is to explain to you that when Monica got blasted out of that world, how did that organic material still remain on her that Wanda created?
Here you go. I mean, look, we're giving y'all go here. We're giving you guys everything that you really need to know. Everything you're speculating and thinking about. I
was more surprised in episode 5 that they didn't make as big of a deal out. Clearly, they're going to make a bigger deal about it because that has bigger ramifications. If she's creating that type of organic material, who else is organic that we know about that she could possibly create something with? Duh. So if that's the case, it clearly to me is a bigger moment. But again, as I said, this is only the first half of episode 3. So episode 6, is it supposed to be? Yeah, episode 6 should be revealing the second half of that. And I'm assuming you would have to focus on that. Well, they made a big deal of focusing on it when Monica went back and said, let's go back to clothes that still make no sense that I had on when I got put in the universe without them.
Exactly. Duh. And I mean, again, this is an interesting thing. I mean, I'm not negating that. I think it is very interesting that, okay, you go in there with something, she's going to makeshift it and turn it into something else. But when you come up with something brand new, and if it gets pushed back out, what does that really do? Now, the ramifications of her bringing back Pietro, I do have a theory on that, and I'm going to go to the whys of that. In this next clip we're gonna show y'all. Hold on one second. I'm trying to see if there's any more gold in this one. I think that was it.
Thank you.
There you go. Okay. So you don't get confused. I'm just saying that so you all don't get confused out here. Because again, we understand why they split it up like they're doing it to these shitty 30-minute.
All right, we ain't gotta say all that. But 33. Was it 33? Hold up. 30. Yep, 33:27. Right.
Oh, what else did we talk about? I'm lost. I don't rewatch these episodes. Let me just say that I don't rewatch these episodes. I don't research nothing. I don't read comic books. I just talk about it for things that would make sense for a story.
Yeah, exactly.
We getting Kate Bishop and all the rest of these little bastards is for that show.
Oh, here we go.
Because you kind of
with her kids.
Because then you kind of. But well, duh, she's gonna do the kids. The kids are part of the Young Avengers, and that's why we getting Kate Bishop and all the rest of these little bastards is for that show.
But the moment
I was kind of wrong here a little bit.
You're already changing something that wasn't in existence, and you're creating something that's brand new. And that's why I said that.
So she has to age them up because I just think by the end of the show, those kids will be teenagers.
We said that we're giving y'all gold.
Like I just assumed that she would rush them through childhood. to get them to be teenagers.
Ooh, somebody did put in something dope that I didn't think about from the comic books. So, Infamous Quan, shout outs to you. Mephisto also made a deal with Spider-Man when the world found out his secret identity. That was, man, I can't remember the comics. It came out back in like 2014, 2016. I actually owned it. And I hated, I really did hate how that ended up. But
so the reason why the person brought up about Mephisto, and I had to go back. I think it was
because that's when you brought Mephisto
I brought up Mephisto
about a multiverse.
Yeah.
About after the Evan Peters conversation about me questioning if you bring back Evan Peters, when you have it would create other issues to bring up. And you said that's why you bring up a multiverse.
Exactly.
And then you brought up someone who I've never heard of before in a day of my life. Supposedly he has something to do with a multiverse. It better be someone who you've never seen connected to the Marvel universe.
Wolverine.
I got a little bit more.
Why not bring back Charles Xavier? And I'm talking about Patrick Stewart, not James McAvoy. This is when we was making fun of Pietro coming back as the big. You got to go back further to have that big. She promised the big moment. It better not be Tony Stark. It better not be Captain America. It better be someone who you've never seen connected to the Marvel universe.
Wolverine.
No fucking sense with that. But here's the weird part. Here's the weird part, though, and this is why I don't think any of those possibly could be a possibility. If you bring them back, you're automatically connecting the Fox's movies to your MCU.
And there we are.
No, they don't have. But see, that's the thing.
Nigga, I do take the character and I do that. Because without me,
here we go, right here.
You can bring whoever you want to, because we're in the multiverse.
The multiverse has not been created yet.
That's what I thought this show was about. I thought that's what she's doing.
I thought it shows the potential to create a multiverse, but not her creating. Look,
I think that this show is going to be.
So you're telling me that Wanda, all by herself.
Yep.
Oh,
no, wait, I take that back. So this is what I was going to initially say, because I initially was going down the line of talking about my theory. I think that Mephisto, who I think is going to be the villain in Doctor Strange 2, is the person that is manipulating all of this in hand. Because honestly, she could have been done this a long time ago at the moment that she snapped back. I think that there is some outside influence, and I think it's been hinted at in this show. But I think that Mephisto is doing this to try to change a multiverse kind of situation. But I really do, in all honesty, in the bottom of my heart, I feel like this show was supposed to be the spark of the creation of the multiverse, and that was going to bleed into why there was a Doctor Strange 2, why there was a Spider-Verse. But I really always
pause this. So you went from disagreeing with me when I said this is supposed to show the potential of a multiverse, not necessarily build the multiverse up, and then went and said, yes, this show is to show the potential of a multiverse without fully building the multiverse.
Hey, I was passionate in the moment because I was trying to get my darn theory through. But again, this goes back to the reason why we're showing you this footage, you guys, because we had a lot more engaging conversation right here. Episode before with the theoreticals of where this is going, and it already is being laid in foundation in this episode. A lot of you guys brought up Mojo. A lot of you guys have brought up Mephisto, but I'm telling you that when Wanda was having a conversation with Vision or whatever, right?
Yes.
And she was kind of like, Vision in front of her, he had a darn Marriage Story moment. He's like, man, what the heck is wrong with you? This, that, other. Like, this got to stop. And he like legit asked, like, are you like, what are you doing? And she kind of was like, that's not how it started. And to me, that left me with either it's gotta be. It's definitely an outside influence that's allowing this to be able to be. Now, she has the ability and capacity, but in the moment that this is happening, this is also ripping the fabric of reality. Now, this is the question I was going to ask you. And I think we talked about it more in this right here, but with bringing Evan Peters' character back, Okay, because I thought about multiple different scenarios here. One, she couldn't bring back, right?
Well, she gave you, or they gave you what Marvel does a lot was the reasons why it couldn't be Aaron. By her talking to the boys and saying you can't bring things back from the dead, and even though that would live things back from the dead was also gives the shot to exactly what's going on with Vision, because Vision was actually never alive. So she's like, you can't bring alive things back, but she wanted her brother back. So what they did was say, hey, it would be dope. Let's bring Evan Peters, the good Quicksilver, people, the actual good one, not the bad one with the bad Russian accent.
So the reason why I brought that up though is it's not even so much good or bad. He is definitely but it's what she didn't do was pull Pietro's bones right out of the ground. She picked this one from a different universe and brought it over to our universe. That's the only thing that really kind of makes any sense. And so when you start doing stuff like that, it's like, whoa, wait, where'd Pietro go? And I just thought about something. In the Fox universe, right? Before Days of Future Past, we had never seen a Quicksilver ever. Like for years, he just didn't exist. It wasn't there up until after Days of Future Past, which is in and of itself
is a time
changed.
Yeah.
So what they could do theoretically.
Do you think they're going to lean that much into anything from Fox? Let's start off there.
So I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna say this on record, and we'll come back to the other stuff in a second. On record, I don't think the moment that they added Evan Peters back, for anybody that was a Fox fan, you hooked them in. And I wouldn't have added him back at all if you didn't want to dip into that. I wouldn't have done it. It doesn't make sense for Disney to even touch it. I mean, especially considering what they did to the past few movies. Why even touch it with a 6-foot pole?
Yeah, it makes no sense. Well, for the case of Wanda, you needed a Pietro back. And again, we can hypothesize why it wasn't Aaron. I have my beliefs on why it wasn't Aaron, and it has nothing to do with not bringing dead things back. It has something to do with someone possibly not being interested in being that character again.
Factual standpoint.
Yeah, but you had to pull them from somewhere else. But there's not going to be another case of another character because there's no more true. Let me phrase this: are there any other true crossover characters from both?
I must say this. But I don't know. Okay. Again, this is what we did last week. Lucas was drinking and I was like on a rant, and we just started spewing out really illogical things that ended up happening. But in the comics, Pietro and Wanda are the children of Magneto.
Yeah, well, we talked about that last week too. That
we did. I'm just making it.
Of course, eventually you're gonna have to reveal him. Yes, that's obvious.
It's not even an option. The weird thing is that, as far as I can remember, Age of Ultron, oh Lord Jesus,
it's bad. But yeah, what do you remember from that bad movie?
I'm trying to remember. I thought that their parents got killed.
Supposedly, their parents got killed, and then they became radicals and all this other stuff, right?
But some kind of way they survived where nobody else did. And their bodies were kind of like shielded, and they never said what shielded them.
And it would be your assumption is now when you finally have control of that character, you can say that he shielded them.
Yeah.
Because clearly we know he's not dead.
Of course not. But it's kind of like, again, when you start taking stuff from a different multiverse, then you kind of negate your own universe too.
But when you say that's the case with Spider-Man, then, like, granted, we know,
yeah, of course,
why it's happening with Spider-Man. We know it's just to branch Sony stuff off from Marvel.
Yeah,
but Like, you're still introducing elements of Spider-Man stuff into it.
Mm-hmm.
What's the difference between doing it with Fox and just taking certain elements that you need? Like, do you think they could get any of those actors to replay those characters in the MCU? I would say it would be, for some, it's going to be an extremely hard sell. And the reason why is because of the way you fucked over that last movie, and they all remember it.
They do.
I remember the press conferences with James McAvoy when he was talking about it and said, this is not the movie we shot.
Yeah.
Like, how do you, so you can't go for those characters to make it up. You would have to try to pull from possibly the older characters. But who would you want to pull?
I mean, so it really depends, though, because the moment you add in Evan Peters, then you open up the door to all the people that are part of First Class. I mean, I don't. There's no other way around that.
Except for Jennifer Lawrence. I don't think you're gonna.
Oh no, they're never gonna pull her. They're never gonna pull her. That's not gonna happen. What's the other chick that played her before? Played that character before?
Rebecca Romijn.
Yeah, they have a better chance, pulling her. But I'm just saying that when you pick a younger version character like that, I'm gonna say this. This is what I'll say. They shouldn't have done it, because by doing it,
even though we kind of knew that this is going to be the direction they were going into.
Yeah.
We knew Pedro was coming back. We didn't know which one. We knew both were possibilities.
Yeah, but I'm saying that the moment that you add anybody from that Fox franchise, everybody's gonna be looking at, oh shoot, man, James McAvoy could come back. Michael.
You already know. Everybody knows the one. Everybody knows the one that they will be like, he better come back. It's one person. Yeah, and I would say he could possibly be interested, but the way Logan ended, I don't think he would be interested at all. He saw Logan, and he had a lot of control over Logan, and he saw that as being the perfect out.
Look,
all it is a setup moving forward to what you're going to get in the other movies. But as it pertains to this episode, this episode here. Again, unfortunately, and not in a bad way, I still think this is just part 1 of episode 3. Nothing happened in part 1 at all that I didn't see coming. Not a single thing.
Yeah, I mean,
not a single thing.
Y'all didn't see everything that we already talked about, already speculating about, already knowing this is where it was going to have to go. This is the trajectory it was going to go. Then that was the reason why we showed you the footage. I mean, it was funny. It was good content. Hopefully y'all enjoyed it. But the reason why we showed it to you is we already had that in the back of our mind. So it wasn't that much so surprising.
So it doesn't come across like we're shitting on the show. It's just that you kind of knew that this is the direction they're going towards.
Yeah.
Which is not a bad thing. And I kept on saying that. It's never a bad thing to know the direction something is going towards. You just want the execution to be down packed when you know where it's going. I felt this was a little better because they pulled it with a very special episode. So this one went 38 minutes instead of 30 minutes. But still, I would prefer to see the episode as a whole, which would have been episodes 5 and 6 as one. Yeah. Because clearly the puzzle is left right there for you to see something else was actually connected to this episode to bring it all fully into light. That's it.
Yeah. And I mean, even like this chick that's on the far left on this main picture, her name's Agatha Harkness. So Agatha, should I spoil that?
Is connected to, everybody knows she's connected to Fantastic. That's all I keep on hearing.
Some people don't know that. Some people don't know. Oh yeah, she is very connected to Reed Richards.
Well, people who are like me who don't read comic books will have the slightest idea. I don't know who the hell she is. And I don't care to know who she is. That's the bigger part of it.
But the reason why I bring it up is because that will be more reason for, say, hypothetically speaking, Reed Richards to get involved. Like, my old nanny is underneath this. Oh, I got to figure out this. Oh, what's going on, Monica? Let me help, or something to that nature. Because if you're going to add something like this, Evan Peters, into this episode, which is technically the 5th episode, but we look at it like the 3rd episode, you have to have something else to merit.
Unless but bring in Reed sooner.
So no, I'm saying they could end it with
hint,
a hint at him,
like a Captain Marvel,
a
Captain Marvel pager hint type.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, Magneto, Mephisto, Reed Richards, all these characters should, in some way, shape, or form, be a cameo or show up in the show, or at least be alluded to. And so I'll say that on record right now. It's just if they don't. I don't know. When they did this whole Evan Peters thing, I feel like they opened up a Pandora's box that I don't think they can close at this point. Because if, like, say hypothetically speaking, after this show, it's like this is the last we hear of any of these Fox characters. That's it. How do you think people are going to take it?
Horribly. They're going to be pissed.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's Marvel though. They'll forgive them. Without no issue, they'll forgive them.
I don't think they're gonna forgive this. If Evan Peters,
I think they're so excited with the idea of a multiverse being created that they don't care, and they're so and they want Marvel to rush through it before DC gets to theirs. So that's the bigger issue. They want, even though DC kind of already did it, but they still, and in a television show, but they want them to rush through it so they can get to it before Flashpoint, which is scheduled to drop in 2082 at this point. So before that comes out, they want Marvel to get through it. So if they have to rush certain elements of it along to get to it, they're not going to care.
Yeah. So I had a question to ask you, because this, every single episode, it feels like there's like a horror element to something, right? In this episode, it started off with the kids manifesting the dog, or we assuming that the kids manifesting the dog. Then what I'm assuming happened is when the drone came in and targeted Wanda, they didn't hurt anybody but the dog, and the dog died. But I'm wondering if, so I don't know how to break this down. I'm gonna just try to do my best to break it down. Okay. I think that the kids manifested the dog from something or from nothing, out of nowhere. And when they were talking to her, they were like, you can bring anybody back from the dead, do this, do that. And we already know that she alters things from out of, organic materials. That's what she does. They could just make something out of nothing. I don't really know. But I'm wondering if the dog, or whatever the dog came from, she used that material organically to make Pietro. Or even worse than that, if she didn't know that she was pulling it from a different universe. Only reason why I bring all that up is a part of me was kind of like, this mailman, right? We never seen him. He's the only character we haven't seen. Even when they did, like in the last episode, they just kind of put like little pictures of everybody. He's the only one that doesn't fit. And I was kind of like, we still don't know what happened to the guy that went in underneath, that kind of came in and ended up in the B thing. We don't know if Wanda killed him and used his organic material to make the children. We don't know. We don't really know. I just know that something has to come from something. But the other theory that I was wondering is what if he is one of the players of this game that is controlling it? What if he is Mephisto? What if he is Mojo? I just thinking that either one, he is something that she's manipulated and controlled to be something else, or he could be the person that's kind of pulling strings on the outside. I was just curious because he just kind of came out of nowhere for me. And when he came up, I started like picturing in my head. I was like, okay, the dog died. Then at the moment, the kids were asking about the dog being brought back to life. And then all of a sudden, Pietro kind of came back out of nothing, out of a different universe. But then where does he actually come from? Like, what actually organic material is used to bring him back? Or is it that they came out of nothing? It's kind of like the kids, did they come from nothing or did they come from Vision? This man right here, did he come from the person that was the B person, or he is the B person, or did he come from nothing? Same thing for Pietro. Like, these are thoughts that I'm going with that are the intriguing parts about the show that I think a lot of people are just kind of going over here because you're mystified about the things that they're showing you. but the applications of what this could be are more exciting to me than anything else. And we've been like that episode 1. Even when the organic material came off of Monica, that was why we were so excited. Like, oh, snap, what could this mean?
But that's, again, when I say storytelling 101, that's normally storytelling 101 is that you don't put the obvious in front of what's playing in the back. It's a quote from a movie that is not that good of a movie, but I love the quote between Tom Cruise and David Ayola, can't remember his name fully. And it was in Jack Reacher, and they're talking about the weapon, a gun. Mm-hmm. And he asked Tom Cruise, well, what's the number on the gun? And Tom Cruise looks at him and says, what's the date of the quarter? And he looked at Tom Cruise, and Tom leaves and says, forest before the trees, meaning don't look at the forest before you see the trees.
Yeah,
that's what a lot of this stuff is, and that's all it is. So if it seems confusing to people, which I didn't like the point of the creator of this show is trying to badmouth people for not understanding what you're doing to the show, that means you are not clear in your vision, and that's why they're not understanding what you're doing in the show. Someone like me, who's accustomed to movies that do this all the time, nothing is surprising me here.
Yeah.
So look at things that aren't as obvious as Evan Peters popping up. Mm-hmm. Aren't as obvious as this character popping up or this happening. The big moments, the big things that happen aren't the things you're supposed to pay attention to. It's the little things behind it. Unfortunately, you are creating a show like this in a universe that never does this.
Exactly.
Marvel gives you everything up front. They have not surprised in any project. So when you come up and attempt to make a deeper project, you can't be surprised when the fans are mad about it. Yeah. You can't be surprised when a show that critics say is a 93 and then fans are rating it as a 75 because they don't like it. And it's because of all the expositions that you're doing in these episodes that make no sense to them. And the format that you put in the episodes that makes no sense to them. That's your fault. But again, if you are a person that's going to keep on watching this show, stop looking at things that are obviously in front of you. Yeah. Pay attention to everything else in the background. Again, as Sam said, still the most important part of this show to me is when Monica was blasted out in them clothes. That's still the most important part of the episode to me.
Yep.
Because that proved that one, she could create organic matter and that she could sustain it outside of her bubble.
Yep.
Like that's highly important.
Yeah. Because even what was it, Darcy? She said in episode 3,
who was still great in this episode too.
Her yeah.
I don't want to be racist and call him John Woo.
His name's Jimmy. His name's Jimmy.
But them two and their chemistry is still great.
Yeah.
And every time they're on screen, it works really well.
Yeah, they are an added gem to this.
I didn't need the asshole agent that's like Marvel trope 104. Put an asshole in the show and make you hate him and make the superhero or the hero turn on him to show that you're not the really one in power. I'm the one in power. I don't need that. Just give me those two, Darcy and Jimmy, and their interactions with one another, even their interactions with Monica, because it's helping everything. Even though we possibly know almost everything that's going to happen, their interactions make it worth watching. And that's the key part.
Yeah, because one of the things that Darcy said when somebody was kind of like, oh, you might want to be careful around the bubble or whatever, because right now it's contained. She was like, for now. And he was like, what you mean? She was like, this could be expanded. And even Monica, when Monica was kind of talking to the director, she was like, she put this in her own bubble. This could be a lot worse. And it's like, imagine, which I don't want to go into from a comic book standpoint, but imagine if this did expand, right, everywhere, and everything started to be manipulated and changed. Everybody be hit. And nothing
it would take a telepath to come in and free everybody from her. And I wonder what telepath they would actually try to use to free everybody from her.
Great. I'm just joking. It's not the obvious answer that I was going to say. But yeah, it's the little things, Jimmy. It's the little things. It's the little things.
Wow. You just insert. Oh man.
But on that
was
note,
a good shot there. That was a really good shot there.
But on that note, I feel like we've kind of dissected everything, but we kind of wanted to show you guys, like, we do have some really good conversations, and we're not trying to
shit on the show. That's the best way to put it. We're not trying to say the show's horrible. So when I say nothing happens in this episode, I just mean because we kind of saw a lot of this happening already.
Yep.
And it's not a bad thing. And that's why I never want people to think it's a bad thing that you can see things happen. Oh man, I hate Russian Pietro. It's never a bad thing that you can see what happens. It's all about the execution. But don't go out your way getting mad at people because they are not shocked at things you're shocked about. Or don't try to overhype things and thinking that's going to help bring people back. Like, oh my God, did you see when they did that? Or when Vision went off on Wanda? That was, man, this is why I love this show. And it's the same reason other people hate this show. Like, you got to realize that. This is not Mandalorian. Also, something that the creator said about people not being accustomed to week formats. Lady, we just went through the biggest show in the world on Disney Plus going week to week. People have no issue with it going week to week. People have an issue with the way you formatted this show.
Yeah. And it's kind of like, I don't know if she made that decision or if Disney made that decision for her and she got to bite it.
But no. Here's the thing, though. I know one decision Disney did make. Her ass speaking up about it. One thing about Disney, even if a project is bad, they don't talk about it. Let it go. Let a show speak for itself. We went through 3 seasons of Westworld and still don't know what the hell is going on here. The creators still don't come out and talk about it. Want to know why? Because they want the show to stand on its own. You're either gonna like it or you're gonna hate it. Yeah. But she's feeling the pressure that she is feeling because she feels this show is failing. And because of that, she decided to do an interview with someone and talk about the fans and what they are accustomed to. And maybe this is why we made the show. I was a little iffy about them liking it. And I kind of saw this coming. Then if you kind of saw it coming, shut the hell up about it. We don't need to hear you talking about it.
Yeah, it's better just to kind of leave it alone, let it ride. I mean, the fans that really do love Marvel and the fans that are with you, they're going to be with you no matter what way it goes. They're going to carry on with the show.
Not only that, not everything is widely accepted when it airs.
Oh, no.
Some things, it takes years, and you go back to it, and you be like, man, this was really great.
Yeah.
Let that be this if that's going to be the case. But to get defensive as a creator of a show, I'm surprised Marvel let her speak. Because I wouldn't let her speak. Shut the hell up. You're not doing no interview and talk about this show. Not a single one. Shut the hell up about it. Let them people think what they're going to think about the show.
But yeah, I don't think we got anything else. I think we dropped the mic.
So stay tuned for episode 3.2 or episode 6, as you all are calling it. I'm not going to say what I think is going to happen. Nope. Not giving you all that no more because you don't believe us when we say it anyway.
Oh yeah, or you just don't watch our show. Like when I did that, I was like, yo, just watch the discussion. We went over it. I get it. It's 33 minutes. Right now, we went 48 minutes. We didn't even mean to do that. Part of that is because we showed y'all clips from the last one. But it is very entertaining. I promise you're going to get some really good nuggets. If you can get past, being in your feelings about it, we're not coming at the show. We're not coming at your opinions. We're just giving you from our concise understanding of what's happening.
And if you would like me to come for your opinions, I definitely can. I am really good at doing that.
He is, actually.
Nope, because I don't believe the show is bad. I believe the show is formatted bad. I believe the story of the show is actually good. It's the format that isn't good on this show. It's very simple. It's just the format. A better format in this show could be really, really good. With the format it is in, it becomes an average show.
Yeah. So I'm going to ask you a question so we can kind of lead them with some kind of tidbit. Now that Vision knows everything, and we've seen her
manipulate him and completely forget everything all over again?
Yeah.
What makes you think Vision knows anything and is not her losing a grip on her powers a little bit? Or
So
whoever else is controlling, whoever else created this, as she puts it in this episode, what makes you think this is not their play? Because, again, why would Vision show emotion? You can't explain that. We know why she would show emotion, but why would he show emotion?
Yeah. And that's one of the reasons I brought that up, is because in the next episode, even though it's the same episode, is Vision gonna just be like, oh, we got your brothers in home and all this kind of stuff? Like, who is Pietro gonna be in this situation? Like, is his personality, his real personality, ever gonna bleed over? Is the person pulling the strings, whether it's Wanda or our theories, gonna lose control? Because he could technically run out of there. Like, all it take like a second for her to lose a little bit.
But here's the thing, though: is it really him, or is it just her mind manifesting him and her needing an outlet? But again, you know, the show loves giving people outlets, and Marvel loves giving people outlets. So maybe he becomes an outlet that she can get these emotions off of her chest, and that could lead to hopefully her letting her guard down, stop controlling people, and then magically her figuring out, well, who's controlling me? But I can't let it up too much, because if I let it up too much and he figures out that I'm figuring out who's controlling me, then it creates another issue and he could hurt other people. So let me figure out this as the kids age up again. And then eventually the family comes together to stop this person.
Yeah.
While ripping a space in time or whatever is necessary to create the multiverse.
That's what I'm saying. Like, even if he is just a fabrication, he's still being, like, his physical form is being pulled from a different universe. So again, I present that as, you know, a question of, you know, what is Vision's going to do, and what and if Quicksilver will react at all if the veil has been lifted over him. Because technically, because the clothes can come out, they both could technically come out of this.
Yes.
Now, they're not going to be who they were.
Hey, here's the bigger question. Does Quicksilver run like he did in the Fox movies, or he did in Age of Ultron? Because we know which one is better. We know which one was better. So how does he run?
It's going to be the Silver Streak all over again. That's what's gonna happen. No, they definitely should have. In my opinion, if you want to really get fans excited, give him a slow motion moment. Give him a moment where all things start to destroy, and he has to be the only person to get everybody out before the world collapses on Wanda. That would be that would actually be really dope. To be honest,
like he did in Apocalypse. Is what you're saying?
That's exactly. Okay. Just give it to him again. Like,
as long as Apocalypse isn't 5-2 again, it should be fine.
Yeah, just because Marvel's gonna be like, yo, this is crazy. Like, the Marvel fans be like, yo, this like it's never happened before.
Hey, and people who love Days of Futures Past, it's gonna be like, you motherfuckers. How dare you? How dare you try to act like this is new?
But again,
or it'd be great. I mean, we have ideas. If they just amazingly did something where you interject Days of Futures Past into this, that would be great. It's not going to happen, but it would be great.
Why couldn't they?
Because it's Marvel.
But it's also Fox.
But it's Marvel.
But they could.
I'd be goddamn. This is my Kevin Feige impression. I'd be goddamn if I give Fox credit for anything. Look.
In all honesty, they could be like the moment that universe shifted and changed for time reasons.
Because clearly they screwed up time in Days of Futures Past.
I mean, yeah, because it had a ripple effect to everything. Like Logan, completely different in the way that the future is supposed to be. Days of Future Past, of course, completely different. And then, of course, like the Dark Phoenix, like all that came from the ramifications of what happened in Days of Future Past. So I'm saying that they could take from that point in time, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which we're coming close up to the 80s, right? Because we've already passed, we're in the 80s or the 90s now, right?
Yeah.
We're about to be in the 90s.
Yeah, because
right?
she still had feathered hair, so that's the 80s.
Yep. So I'm saying right around that same era is when he would look like that, when that Pietro would look like that. So they could be also pulling it from that same exact time marker.
I'm just saying.
Days of Future Past. But anyway, we're just giving you guys something. We're giving you guys a bone. I'm trying to help y'all out.
Hey, look here. We are attempting to guess, but I don't want to guess anymore. Just play the episodes. Play them properly too.
Weekly? Can we get 2 episodes?
Can we just get the one real episode and stop chopping this BS up to 30 minutes a piece? How about that? How about that?
Call me crazy, but I think that Ian McKellen will show up as Magneto. Yo, Lucas would freak out. Marcelo, Laura, thank you for the comment. They said, call me crazy, but I think he'll show up.
I said that from the beginning.
You did?
Like, that would be the person. If you want to shock people, it would be Ian McKellen showing up as Magneto. That's the only shock that you can have. That would still not compare to Luke Skywalker, but it would be like oh man, that's super great. Like,
but if they do that, they forfeit
way other issues if they ever thought about doing that.
They would forfeit a younger Magneto. Like I said it before, but I feel like they opened the Pandora's box that they're not going to be able to close again.
You can always do Michael and like give him grayer hair.
I mean, yeah, I'm fine with it. I'm just saying they can't. I don't think that they should do Ian if Ian is that old, because then you can't use
Ian is not in his 90s at this point.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you do Ian. You're just giving up any hope of anything else.
Do you think that John Krasinski is still going to be Mr. Fantastic, or are they going to go with somebody completely different?
He would make the most sense, but then it was as a package deal between him and Emily Blunt. But it really depends, because isn't Warner Brothers still recruiting him for Green Lantern?
I thought that went off the table.
I don't think it's off the table with them. Granted, it's still a chance that the other Green Lantern may appear in the Snyder thing that's happening, but like, why not? John is a hot commodity for somebody to try to snatch up.
Yeah, I mean, it's an easy Mr. Fantastic and Sue Storm. I mean, I'm not gonna lie to you. I mean, it would be.
Do we bring back Michael B. Jordan as Johnny Storm?
I'm about to end the show. I'm ending the show right now. All right, you guys. Hope you guys.
He's Alexa now, so he definitely can be Johnny Storm again. That's all I'm saying.
Alexa. Anyway, no, I ain't.
You haven't seen the Super Bowl commercial. You got to see the commercial. He's Alexa.
Why does the Super Bowl always do this? Why do they always release out the freaking TV spots before it's actually a Super Bowl? But anyway, dang on, Super Bowl is tomorrow. Flip. All right. Well, we're gonna go, you guys. Hope you guys enjoyed this discussion. Thank you, Twitter family. Thank you, YouTube family. Thank you, Facebook family. Go down to the description bar below if you want to see our full discussion that we had on the last episode in its entirety. And definitely go and follow us on Twitter and all that stuff. And make sure you like this if you enjoyed it. All 13 of you guys that are watching right now, please leave a like. We really appreciate it. Peace, guys.